All right, as we have been, here is the mic, so please raise your hand and we're ready to start with questions.
How you doing, Coach? Caleb from our weekly. In the second half, you ran a small ball lineup consisting of 3 to 4 guards. Is that something you're considering to finish the season out, to start the game with, instead of coming in the second half with?
No, I mean, I think you put too much pressure on your team if you do it all game. But obviously, when we had our traditional center in there, he was minus 23 while he was on the floor. So we've got to have better play when we play with the traditional big. I thought our small ball lineup did a great job of getting us back in the game. And then their ability to get to the foul line during that one stretch, as soon as we caught up, got within 2, went up 2, they started going to the foul line at an alarming rate. And we had a couple guys out there with 4 fouls, and we're trying to do everything we could not to foul. But Michigan beat us. It wasn't a 1-possession game. So I'm not going to, say that, it wasn't a 3-point game. It was a double-digit game, and they obviously, bunch of different themes. They came out and shot the 3 at an incredible rate. We corrected that at halftime. I don't think they made a 3 in the second half, which is incredible when they made 10 in the first half. We did a great job guarding the paint in the first half. They were 3 for 11 inside the 3-point arc. We led the game in rebounding most of the game, even though they have 2 7-footers. But we're 0-2 at home, and this is a league that dominates at home. You look at the record of our next 3 road games, it's like 2 losses. You go play at Indiana, there's going to be 20,000 people, 19,000, whatever Assembly Hall is. You go to Illinois, I already know what their student section's like. And then you got Nebraska, and they never lose at home. So we got an uphill battle in this league just based on home court advantage. I mean, there's zero doubt about that when you look at our league and what we have to encounter going on the road.
Last couple minutes left. You guys are down 2. Desmond fouls out. You also have Josh, Wesley, Uzo also in foul trouble, for most of the night. In general, any frustration kind of with the referees from you with how this game was being called?
I mean, there is, but I'm not gonna say it. I'm a first-year coach in the league, so is Dusty, but it's not worth talking about, to be honest, because there was a stretch there that we were not trying to foul. Like we were trying to be super disciplined, and they went to the foul line when we were way more aggressive early in the game, and there wasn't fouls. So it is what it is. There's no excuse. Michigan beat us. Like I said, it wasn't a 1-point game. Then I might have a different tone about that. But they went to the foul line at boom, boom, boom right when we caught up. I think there was 6 to 8 FTAs attempted in a stretch. And when we're switching under and they roll, I mean, that's not a basketball spot to foul. And there was 2 of those, which, we got a guard on a 7-footer. I don't, and he's rolling. But like I said, it is what it is. And Michigan outplayed us. Much credit to them. They had a great crowd. So that it's they got a heck of a basketball team with a lot of talented players, and Danny Wolf's an NBA player. I mean, it's flat out become apparent. He transfers up and he's dominating, and so he's the 7 assists for a 7-footer, 21 points. I mean, he's going to be in the NBA next year. So he's worked on his game and he's so efficient. 9 of 12. It's hard when you got a guy that just dominates across the board, rebounding, assists, and points.
Hey, Coach. You inserted Kevin Patton in the first half. He seemed to be a spark off the bench. What did you see from him that really contributed to got the team going at that point? And then to your point about the home court advantage, if you could send a message to the fans, what would that message be?
Yeah, I mean, I'm new here, you know what I mean? So there's no message. It's we got to keep working to build something, and it obviously helps when you win and becomes more difficult when you don't. But Kevin Patton, we're going to need some of our young guys to grow. It's our first year. We have 2 guys that when we got the job and we built this team, Terrence Williams was a big part of what we were going to do. He's our one guy that's got Big Ten experience. He's a fifth-year senior. Matt Nolan, same thing. No timeline. We have no timeline on either guy when they're back. And so, you know, with those two guys not being available, when you build your team with a bunch of 6'6" guys that are supposed to be switchable, and we're playing small ball and we don't have those two, I'm shocked that our small ball was able to withstand their roster, to be honest with you, but they did. They did a great job. Kevin was phenomenal. I mean, going forward, we're going to need him to play well for us. We're going to need him to continue to grow. When you look at Wesley Yates as a freshman, he didn't. I think he was perfect from the field until the last 3 minutes of the game. So we got a freshman and a sophomore that were really big in an early season Big Ten game. That's a positive. You know, but I'm sitting here to try to, you know, talking to you. I want to win games, but you also have to grow your team, and you know, those are two young players that we're going to need to grow as players as we look into the future too.
Coach, it looks like that you sort of replaced St. Thomas as the second ball handler with Wesley Yates, and I don't think St. was really handling the ball a whole lot in this game. Is that where you're going now?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think Wesley's a combo guard. So if Wes is going to be out there and he basically played flawless until the last 3 minutes. So yeah, Wes and Desmond are going to be our primary ball handlers, and then Saint is going to be a guy that also contributes across the board. And you know, I mean, Saint took 10 shots tonight and he made a 3 and had 4 rebounds and a couple assists. Played 37 minutes. So, but yeah, Wes and Desmond are natural guards. That only makes sense to have those two guys as ball handlers, and Desmond's got to do a better job not turning the ball over. I mean, the 2 baseline out of bounds passes, it cannot happen. And those were 2 costly turnovers in back-to-back baseline out of bounds plays.
Coach, with Desmond, he's such a focal point of the offense, so when he fouls out, the losses are obviously, you can see it, they go on the 10-0 run. Is there anything you can do to overcome that, or when he goes out, is it just you're in a tough spot?
Well, I think we're in a tough spot when we have 2 guys out injured, you know? I mean, if you know, look, if Oregon had 2 guys out that were in their top rotation, we win the game. If you can pick any of Michigan's top 8 guys, if you take 2 of them out of the we probably win the game. But we have 2 guys. Injuries are part of the game, and so like I'm be perfectly. That's no excuse. So I'm not sitting up here saying we got 2 guys out and there's an excuse. But if you have 2 guys in your top 6 and they're out, and then a guy fouls out, now it's an issue. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, Connor, it's an issue. You know, with our roster right now when that happens.
Well, he talked basically from day one about your concerns about a lack of bigs on this roster. You go up against a team that has 2 7-footers. Seemed like you said, that first half, you guys did a great job in the paint. What was different going into the second?
Well, I mean, you know, when you take away the 3 like we did, you know, that's going to open something. You know what I mean? So you got to kind of, like, what are you going to do? You're going to take away the 3, or and Gale was in foul trouble for them, and he's their guy that puts pressure on the rim. It's not a surprise that we have not gotten like hurt inside playing small, because that's basically what we've done most of my career. You know, I'd be shocked if night after night we got killed inside, to be honest with you, because there's a way to front, there's a way to dig in the post. Look, Golden's a great basketball player, and you know, he has 11 points and 3 rebounds. You know, and yeah, we're gonna look when they roll a 7-footer. We're gonna give up a lob or a pass over the top. But I also think we're tough enough and scrappy enough to, you know. And there's gonna be some bigs in this league that have really good games. But thus far, when you look at Biddle at Oregon, when you look at tonight, Golden, and when you look at Great Osabar, we've done, you know, in 3 Big Ten games, at least up front at the 5 spot, I think we've done a great job, not a good job. But we don't have any shot blocking. You know, and then when our traditional centers, you know, we need, you know, we didn't get much out of Rashawn tonight either. And so then you're forced to play what's on your roster, which is small guys.
Us just with Terrence and with Matt out, and you mentioned, you know, you built this roster kind of around those 6'6", 6'7" guys. Seeing how much of an impact it's had, you know, with them out, the impact on the rotation, the way you guys play, does it make you think differently about maybe how you construct a roster? You know, I know it's early, but you know, maybe in future years, even in this program.
I don't think so. I mean, I think that, you know, if two of our point guards were out, you know, then you'd say, well, we should have a third and fourth point guard. You know what I mean? So I don't, I mean, I think having a big is something that we've got to, you know, when you look at our roster moving forward, we have some perimeter guys that have eligibility to come back. Although, you know, we all know that, you know, with the portal, who knows what's, you know, what holds tomorrow, the next day. But those are the guys that have the opportunity to come back. And most of our up front guys, their eligibility's up. So, you know, that's going to have to be a focal point moving forward. I mean, we don't want to play every year without a true center. I mean, we need 2 point guards, we need 2 off guards, we need 1 guy that's a combo guard, we need 2 small forwards, 2 power forwards, a forward that can play the 3 and the 4, and 2 centers, and a guy that can play the 4 or 5. I mean, that's where the roster management needs to be with our 13 guys. That's how, you know, it's hard in year 1 to put all those pieces together.
All right, Coach. You mentioned Desmond and Wesley as the on-ball guards. Where do you see Patton kind of fitting into that? Is he more of a 6-man? Is he more of somebody who you kind of just get him on the spot and let him shoot? Or
Yeah, I mean, I think Kevin Patton's kind of a utility, do a lot of all, you know, he played a lot of 4 at University of San Diego. I mean, we play him, you know, way more at the 2, 3. He's got to improve his foul shooting, and he's got to improve his ball handling, but he gives us length. He is the one guy on our roster. I don't know what he had tonight, but he does block shots. I think he's down for 2 and 1 they call the foul on, which was another block. So he at least gives us some length to alter shots as well.
Last question.
It's just a couple times now this year, you know, against Oregon, you kind of think back to it, and tonight, kind of just games slip away a little bit in the last couple minutes, and maybe you could have predicted that with a pretty new team, but again, going into kind of that road stretch that you mentioned, like, how do you get this team to be able to close games a little bit better, you know, than they have been?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, you know, those 2 teams are they both execute well. You know, our guard play down the stretch of games has to improve, you know, and, you know, how does that happen? It happens through film work, it happens through discussions, and then it happens through learning on the floor, you know. I mean, I hope that if Desmond's an inbounder again, which he might not ever be again, but if he does inbound the ball, I hope that he is alert and ball fakes and understands where the reads are and doesn't just, you know, throw the ball and hope that the offensive player seals a guy. And certainly if you have a turnover on a baseline out, it's also the guy receiving the pass, his job to seal off a defender. So, I mean, I've never had a team not inbound the ball cleanly like we saw tonight. So that's super discouraging. But you know, you got to be super alert when you're an inbounder. It's like a quarterback. You can't throw a pass in traffic. And so, you know, we've got to clean that up. That was a huge issue tonight in crunch time.
All right, thank you, everybody.